Hey everyone, so I've got a pretty exciting video here. Well, it's pretty exciting to me because I'm a total camera nerd. I'm gonna unbox a camera that I just bought. I didn't buy it new, it's used. It's probably like 6-year-old camera, but it's a nice camera and I'm excited about it. So let me get the box. This is the box it came in. I already opened it up to make sure there's something in it, but yeah. All right, so let's see what's in here. I haven't checked out the contents yet, but I'm pretty excited to check it out and to see how it's freaking packed. Okay, so what comes out first? Okay, it looks like this. Here's an arm. We'll see what that is. Let's put it over here. This looks like it comes out. It's wrapped in tape. I gotta be careful because I don't want anything here to fall. All right, it's the viewfinder. This thing is solid, holy cow. It's heavy, feels good. Okay, let's carefully put this over here. Take that out of the way. All right, next piece. This is padding, and this must be the camera over here. Got plenty of padding. Let's unwrap this tape. I see a camera. There's no right way to do this, I think. I don't know. Okay, let's carefully grab this. This is the camera. Let's get everything else out of the way. So let's carefully unwrap this. There's some tape. This is not how it's meant to be, seriously. There it is. So there it is. In this box, we had an Arri Amira camera and its viewfinder. And I guess this is the arm for the viewfinder. Now what? So why did I get this camera? Who has this kind of money laying around? Well, fortunately I got a loan and I was able to get it. And this turned out to be a good time to get this kind of camera since some people just needed the money. It's been slow. So fortunately I was able to get it. This looks pretty neat. There's no handle. I purchased the handles for it. So those should be on their way. Looks like it has a little shoulder mount here. So I can go here and then I'll have to attach this on there somehow and put a battery on it. I think I have to change the lens mount. Right now I think it's PL and I got an EF adapter. Not adapter, it's the whole mount. I got an EF mount for it. It's not bad. This feels good. Good on the shoulders. So I guess I'll try putting this thing on. I don't know exactly how to do it, but I see this goes with this. Looks like I can slip this onto there. Looks like that's a latch, which is one way is locked, the other way is unlocked. I see. Oh, there's a little screw there. So this just basically turns the screw a little bit, which will determine the locked or unlocked. Yeah, see, it's tightening. So I push it all the way down, and it should be tightened. It's not going anywhere. Okay, so I'll move that back up. Looks like that spins and that spins. I guess this plugs in somewhere around here. There's only one place it'll go, so I can't get this wrong. Looks like this comes off. Ah, this came off. All right, so I can clearly see that. Close that. This will go in this way. It'll plug into there. Then it's protected by this cover, which I'm gonna screw back in, and it sticks out the bottom there. All right, so let's go ahead and put a battery on it and check out the screen. This camera takes V-mount batteries. Put that on the back. There we go. I wish I had a handle here or something. That's what I'm used to with my other camera. All right, so let's power it on. Where's that? All right, there's a power button right there. I see this is like cover. Here you have 2 CFast card slots, Ethernet, 2 USBs. So let's go ahead and power it on. Amira. Jeez, it's heavy now. Loading, please wait. We should be able to check something out through this screen. And there is time code, shutter, angle, 180. There's the white balance and ISO, ND. This one does have an ND built in, which is what I really wanted. There you go, see ND 2.1. I want to turn it off. So ND is off now. Looks like I do have a tripod mount here on the front, but this feels quite heavy for my tripod. Actually, this comes off. So the shoulder mount comes off somehow. There's a tab down there and it all slips forward. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it like that for now, because when it's on this, it sort of like wants to fall over. I don't really want that right now. But that's another thing I'm gonna have to figure out right now. Can I mount this on my tripod as I have it with these parts that I have? Let's get this adapter. So I see here are Allen wrench holes. This mount is, it says Red Digital Cinema. So this is a PL. And let's open this up. Arri EF lens mount. Let's see what I need to do. So it looks like this is supposed to replace that way. And it's holding on with these Allen wrench screws, the hex screws. So let's go ahead and remove the other one. And it doesn't look very hard. It looks pretty easy. I just need the hex wrench. I think it's this one. That's it. Okay, so let's take this off. One. Oh, yep, that's not too bad. And if you're ever changing this kind of thing, where you're gonna expose your sensor, especially a sensor like this one, don't do it someplace windy and dusty where things are gonna get on it. Duh. Of course you would know that if you're watching this video. Okay, so I think that's off. Oh man, that was so easy. Okay, so the PL mount is off. Now let's stick on the EF mount. Can it really be that easy? Holy cow. Looks like I'm successful. I have changed this camera from PL over to EF. So in that case, I will put an EF lens on it. Canon L24-70 lens. I guess that's a lock. Alright, so lens, oh my god, this is heavy. Oof. Oh geez, now this is a freaking camera right here. This thing is heavy, holy cow. Oh my goodness. This is my camera. So recording, do I want to record in ProRes 444 right now? Not really. Resolution, let's do 4K. ProRes 444, no, nah, oh my god. So here are the options. MPEG 2 HD 422, ProRes 4444 XQ, that's exciting. ProRes 4444, ProRes 422 HQ, ProRes 422, ProRes 422 LT. That's probably what I'll be using. I don't need that much right now. Recording ProRes 422, 422 LT and log C can result in image artifacts. Yeah, I'm not going to use log right now. And I have to figure out where to change that. See, this Might be interesting, just like exploring this camera. I've never done this before. It's exciting. So that's all that. There's audio recording. I gotta figure out how to mount a microphone to this thing. Home. Menu. System. Maybe it's in system. Low noise sensor. There's a sharpness, image detail, noise reduction. So I'll use all that off. I don't need all that. Lens mount settings, focus unit, imperial, what millimeters, I don't know. Lens default. It's on metric, so I guess we'll use metric. But I know feet. I don't know. I don't get it. Enable lens mount. Yes. Multicam, camera access, network, Wi-Fi, update. No. How do I get to my maybe project settings? Project rate 23.976 FPS, or I get just about all of them. See, there's 4K 60p. Let's do 4K 60p, I guess so. That'll be good. But I'll do 23.976 right now. Because we're making movies. Setup. How do I set up my picture profile? Is there a picture profile button on here? Maybe there. Of course I can't record right now. Invalid card. Look, there it is. So there's Arri 709. It's recording in log C. I want to configure that. Recording processing, look. EVF, look. Alright, so let's take a look. This looks like the proper way. Let's do it. I see the peaking, it's making it pretty easy to focus, so that's great. It actually sits better on my shoulder just like this instead of with the other thing on it, with the shoulder pad. Let's go outside. Turn on that ND, which is over here. There we go. ND is on 1.2, 2.1. I'm going to put this down for now. God, it's so heavy. And I'm gonna figure out that CFast card, and I'll get back to you. We're back. It's been a few weeks. I got the CF cards that I needed. I had the wrong ones at the time. So I ended up getting SanDisk Extreme Pros, 120 gigabytes. I got 2 of them, and they seem to be working well. So I just have to say this camera has been a pleasure to work with. It has its quirks, but you just have to get used to it and learn how to shoot with it. So I did get some handles. I got these handles here. I got them for 160 bucks. And when I got them, these were actually too long, so I had to have them trimmed, and then they would fit because they didn't fit here snugly. So I had to fix that, and for that you get a nice set of handles for much lower than the regular Arri cost, which I wasn't about to pay. I bought a bag, I bought all the proper stuff I need to. It's a pretty heavy camera, you gotta protect it. And when I store it, since I can't have this on the bottom, I'll just loosen them up, store them like that. That's how I'm storing it. And it's easy, I don't have to take it all the way apart, and I have the handles when I need them. As far as working with it, getting used to the camera was pretty easy. There were only a few things I had to Google, like one was playback. But for the most part, like even like the picture profiles, I could get used to how to get through them and change them and put on log, but I just had to get used to it. So I did a few shoots and I was a little flustered, but I was able to get through the shoots with this camera. No problem. I just a little bit more stressed out than usual, but you just get through all the menus and get everything you need. For some shoots, I did picture profile, and I did log C for one shoot, but I'm only gonna use that in some situations where I can shoot at the max quality, and I have enough lighting, and I'll show you why. The NDs have been pretty easy to use. There's not too many levels. There's 0.6, 1.2, and 2.1, and clear. You know, as long as I play with the aperture a little bit, I get pretty much exactly what I need. The audio settings were one of the easiest things to get working for me. I don't totally know these menus yet, but I do know that, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the tracks. So I usually stay in 1, 2, I only use those so far, and these are the volume settings for them, and use this to get through the menus. Easy. I figured that out on the first day and went to the shoot the next day, and it was fine. Now, one thing that I'm still dealing with is storage and batteries. I don't have enough, and I know that. I've got 2 of these batteries, which of course this one right now is dead, and they're pretty small as you can see, but you know, just to get me through the learning phase and before I have any big shoots, I'll get by with these and these 2 128 gigabyte cards. And this thing keeps falling out. That's so annoying. This little buffer there, but I just push it back in and hopefully I won't use it because it makes a nice soft tap as it closes. And I've never used V-mounts or these kind of batteries, so I just got this charger for the first time. But I get tricked because these lights are on and I think it's charging, but it's really not. I have to flip the switch up and the fan comes on. And I ran into that a few times, only during testing phase, testing with the camera, not during a real job. Now, as far as shooting, the looks are the easiest to work with. And with the looks, I can shoot in the ProRes 422 Lite, which for most projects, I'm gonna be around there, ProRes 422 and like the standard ones, because the max file size is just way too huge. And I'm not at the point where I can support that. I can only support that on a few limited cases. So that means less log C. But still, with just the looks, not using log C, I'm getting a pretty nice image. And it bakes in a lot of the character that's in there, but that's not bad. It's a nice character, it's good. And it still leaves you a little bit of flatness and leeway to work with. Let's talk about log C a little bit. Now, grading it, Arri has some LUTs on their website that you can download. It's a weird download thing. You don't just download them, you pick which ones you want. But I don't really understand why they have that, since there's not that many. They could just easily make a zip file with all of them in there and save some time. But I guess they want you to learn what exactly you're doing, which I sort of learned a little bit. And basically I just switched through the different LUTs that they have there and see which one I like based on the looks and what I'm looking for real estate that I've tested with it, or for a night scene. But then I actually did one night scene for the end of one of my short films, the Darth Vader short film. And all I did was add contrast and some saturation instead of using a LUT, and it still looked good. I think the LUT was actually too strong, or maybe I was mistaken and I was shooting in a look, but I'm pretty sure I was shooting in log C that night. That night I was shooting in log C, maximum, XQ, the maximum quality. It was a whole lot of space for a 30-second scene, but I just wanted to give that kind of workflow a try, getting the highest quality, even if it was at 1000 ISO, which I wouldn't recommend on this camera. It's not gonna be silky smooth, and you'll see some noise. I guess you'll see a lot of noise on a big screen, but that's the benchmark I want to set. I want to have that kind of footage where you look at it on a big screen and it looks just amazing, because I want to make movies one day, of course. For some reason, I don't know why I'm a musician, but I want to make movies. And I have an Arri. Yeah. So when I first got it, I did do some test shots. I was doing some test shots of a real estate listing. Of course, who's gonna use this camera for a real estate listing? No one's gonna pay for that. I was doing it as a test, okay? With this FS5, you can shoot S-Log2 with the 50 megabit 1080p setting, and you can edit the S-Log2 footage and it doesn't look too bad. So that's this camera's lowest setting for data rate. So on this camera, the lowest setting, ProRes Lite, you do not want to use log C, and I learned that good thing in the beginning, and it just looks really awful. I've never seen such banding. The banding is insane. So never use log C with such a low recording format, which actually is a much bigger file size than the FS5, but so that's why I imagined that. I never imagined it'd be so bad, but it is just totally different. So yeah, I probably just use log C on at least like the highest ProRes 422 setting. As far as looks go though, I did do 2 shoots, low budget things that I did just to use the camera, to get used to it and keep working with it. And I did those on the ProRes 422 Lite, and I did them on looks, and they looked just fine. They looked pretty good because you don't need to twist around the image too much, and they looked freaking fine. So that's what's gonna be my main go-to for a lot of those projects. I am gonna use the camera again for those projects. I'm just gonna keep using it. I wanna get used to it and get used to editing it and stuff. So as far as exposing log C properly on this camera, that's been a little tricky. And I have learned quickly that you have to overexpose it a little bit or get it dead on. Because if you don't, you're gonna have a lot of noise and a degraded image. And I don't want that for my log C footage. Like in the daytime, I did a bunch of tests. And basically I found the sweet spot was if most of the information you want properly exposed is basically just below 75% in the waveform. That's where I found it. but there's so much more to waveforms, histograms than I understand at the moment, and I'm just doing my best to get the right thing. But you know, in situations like sunset, evening shots, it's going to be way different. But at least maybe the highlights that are reflecting on the side of someone's head or something like that is going to be at least within just under that 75. It is a little complex, but when you use the looks, pretty much what you see is what you get, which is great and so much easier. Do I see a huge difference between the log C footage and the looks? I haven't noticed it yet. I haven't done enough shots and comparisons yet in that way, because I've done shots in different situations in the different formats. But either way, they have their look. For example, the one I did at night with my race scene for the Star Wars film, you know, I didn't have a huge amount of lighting, but I did the best I could. And yeah, it actually brings a cool look to the end of the movie. It actually looks cinematic, which is so cool. The skin tones are nice, the image is nice, but even at 1000 ISO, it's still decent looking and not degraded. So as far as using it like physically, this camera is so damn heavy to get used to compared to the cameras I've been using. But you know, I just got to build up my muscles and keep working with it. Now I will admit, my tripods that I have, they're not completely, you know, perfect for this camera, but it still works. They work. They're just not maybe, they don't pan as well and they don't hold as well. But as far as holding it, they'll hold it as long as, you know, you don't bump into it and it might tip over, but that would probably happen with any tripod. This shoulder, you know, this has been all right. I know I'm supposed to have the bars a little out further, but you know, for the moment, this is okay. It just uses a little bit more muscle there, which I probably need anyways. But yeah, this is comfortable to use. I noticed I did get this thing with sort of like a broken rubber here, and I'll just get a new one. It's like 40 bucks. But yeah, every time I use this camera, I start to breathe heavier, and it's just heavy and it's work. This shoulder pad though isn't the greatest. It's just like standard rubber, and I'll probably get something, but I found that even like with the FS7s on TV shoots that I've been on, they have like different shoulder pads or just something to make it more comfortable. And I don't know what kind of work I'll be doing yet with this thing, but I'm not sure how much shoulder work I'll be doing, but that's cool that I have the capability. Look, I have the bars and I'm comfortable. I could do this for so much longer than I could probably even hold that FS5. So it's not bad, even though, you know, I'm starting to breathe now. It's nice that I have the controls here. Yeah, you can get into most of the settings right here. All the audio settings are right next to my ear. And I have been using these presets right here, which I've set based on the shoot. You know, you have your white balance, you have exposure settings, and then you have the US one up here, which I changed to switch through 3 specific looks. I have a record button right here, I have a record button here, and this screen switches, you know, this screen switches from menu to viewfinder if I want. And I've just learned to work with it, and it's not bad. And I like the camera. I'm really glad I got it. I just want to start doing some work with it. Another thing that made it hard for me about the camera physically is, you know, I don't currently yet have an SDI monitor. I wasn't prepared for that. So that's one thing I'll have to get in the future, because this just has SDI. It doesn't have HDMI, which is not a bad thing. So I'm going to put these up, put them in storage mode, and the camera's ready to go. So that's probably all I'll go into in this video. Thank you guys for watching and tuning into my whole learning experience. You know, I like to think myself as a pretty bright person, but this camera is pretty easy to learn and work with. There are just specific things you have to get used to and know that in some situations you have less leeway, and in others you have more. Like in highlights, with this one you can recover the highlights a lot more than you can with this FS5, but it has more issues with the shadows, which you have to learn to expose a little brighter a little bit. Sort of like they say with Sony's, exposed to the right. You sort of do have to do that with this camera, or get it spot on. If you're in a situation where maybe you're not going to get it spot on because you have a little bit of a time crunch, then you're going to expose a tiny bit higher and pull down the shadows, and it looks pretty good. Correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, cool. So thank you guys for watching.